Hello everybody. Um, I'm going to try to make this check-in video. This is probably my fourth attempt. Every time I try to make a video, either an alarm goes off or somebody calls, so I'm hopeful. Uh, I'm sitting outside enjoying the somewhat cool temperatures. Um, I am excited. Today I got to wear a tie and a dress shirt. And it was strange because last night when I was getting my stuff ready, I was like, wow, I actually get to dress like I'm going to work, like school. But the beauty is I know I'm not going to sweat to death because I'm not in a school. I'm in an air-conditioned house, which has been nice. So what I want to talk about today is just a general concept of something that I try to do today and every day when I'm presenting to people throughout the country, whether it's virtual or not, is the importance of building a positive community. And I will say, what I've always found fascinating about the work that I do in the summer is that it's amazing how close people can become in 4 days because you're with them a lot and you really start to talk to people and you get to know about their families, etc. And the reason why I'm saying that is there's a plane. I think building relationships and learning about people is really important, right? I mean, obviously being empathetic towards people is very important, kind of trying to understand where they're coming from. It could be financial, it could be physical, it could be a lot of things. So my friend, who also does what I do, and this is actually how we met, but every day she sends me typically 2 pictures in Snapchat. And yes, I am old and I use Snapchat, but I only share with a few people, mostly family and a couple friends. But what's neat is she always sends me these pictures, and one is always of the temperature. And the temperature is always like 107, 108, 109, 110. It's insane. Now she says as long as it's below 109, it's all right, but I'm not buying it because it looks hot. But the other thing she always sends me is a picture of her dogs. And the reason why it's interesting that she sends me these pictures of her dogs is because one of them is blind. Now, some people might be like, oh, I have a blind dog. I'm just going to keep the dog in the house just for the dog's protection, whatever it might be, but not her. She has another dog, and every day they go on a hike. And the reason why I say that is because her dog just got recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records for the most hikes by a blind dog, which I thought was pretty cool. And I know she goes on these hikes because I see the pictures, and it's not just like, hey, I'm walking around the block. It's like, hey, I'm literally in the middle of nowhere. So she goes on a lot of these really cool hikes. And the reason why I appreciate the pictures is because it gives me a chance to kind of see a little bit of her life through her eyes, right? So instead of, me always thinking about maybe myself or what I'm doing in my life, I can look at her pictures and say, wow, she's getting to experience such beautiful scenery, or she gets to have some time with her pets or whatever it might be. Now, I don't want you to confuse that for people who go on social media. They look and they say, oh, look how wonderful their life is. Everything is perfect. Because here's the other part about building relationships with people and building those community. It's actually having conversations. So although I see her pictures, I talk to her as well. It could be via text. It could be on the phone. It could be in Zoom. So you put those 2 things together, and you get a strong understanding of what somebody's life might be like, a little better than just seeing it on Facebook. Because I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'll put pictures on Facebook, and it could be like a family shot or something, and then like 10 minutes later, my kids are driving me crazy, or I'm driving them crazy, or I'm driving my wife crazy. You just don't know. So you can't always look at pictures and think that everybody's life is just perfect. Because everybody has their own struggles about things, and sometimes what's a struggle on Monday is not a struggle on Tuesday. So the reason why I say that is because having conversations with people, maybe sharing a little bit of yourself. Now, I'm not talking, I know you're young and you might not necessarily be sending all these pictures of people, but I think, having an opportunity, even if you share it with grandma, grandpa, etc., some pictures of the things that you're doing, it lets them kind of know a little bit about what's going on. I know some people go on sites like Facebook or just because it's the only way they see pictures, which I get that. But I think it's important to continually try to strengthen relationships that you have, and it gets started in the home, right? So I think empathy is big. That's really important. And I think, excuse me, being able to experience things together. Now, obviously in quarantine, you might not be able to experience things physically together, but maybe you can do your best to share them, and it's up a visual situation where maybe you send your friend a picture and be like, this is what happened, this is what we did, it was really fun. And then they send you something, this is what we did, it was really fun. Because if we can't be together physically, then maybe we can be together in type of a virtual photograph type of way, kind of experience it. And I guess that's probably like the history teacher in me. I look at historical pictures and I think to myself, I wonder what it was like there. Like a perfect example, since I didn't get to really teach this to you guys this year, is during the Great Depression, there's a very famous photograph taken. The first one is basically of a woman is known as the Migrant Farmer. And she's sitting there with like her hand is like this. She's looking in total despair. And she has her kids. It's during the Great Depression, and you know that obviously it's a tough situation for her. But most people don't know there is another photo of the same woman. It's taken farther back. You can Google it, and you can see there's more to her family than what you see in the picture. And you get to see her living experience, like where she's actually sleeping. And when I teach this to my students, I ask them, which picture tells the story better? Is it the close-up or is it the one far away? Now, you would think maybe the majority would pick one or the other, but they don't. They're usually split, because one will say you can see the despair in her face and the stress she's going through, where the other one would say, yeah, but you kind of see where she's living and know that it's pretty rough. So even if you look at the same photo, you look at it from a different lens. So that's why it's always nice to look at pictures, because you have to imagine what was it like. Because you look at pictures of when you were a kid, you're still kids, but you know what I mean, like much younger, you look so happy. I mean, you ever sat there and just wondered, I wonder what I was feeling at that moment? Maybe you're eating ice cream, or you're going on a ride down the shore, or you're playing a sport. Maybe you just hit your first home run and you just like thrilled to death. Maybe you did your first backflip. I mean, it could be anything. Maybe you swam your first race, because it's taking the time to really look at those moments and appreciate them. That's why I enjoy like looking through old photographs. And in earlier videos I've shown a bunch of little snippets here and there of pictures from way back in the day. But now I find, and I'm guilty of this too, is that we don't print pictures anymore. It's just all on the computer. And nobody necessarily wants to sit and stare at a computer screen all the time. So what I do occasionally is you put a whole bunch of pictures in like a folder, and then you can make your screensaver just rotate through the pictures. Because sometimes you need to be reminded of the good times through a photograph. Because, when things are tough, it gives you that opportunity to say, oh, that was a good day. Because most people think when they're bummed out, they're stressed or depressed, they think every day is stinky. Because it's very hard to think about the fun times, the good times. That's why you need those photographs. You could also journal write too. So why am I saying all this? Is because in order to build a strong community in your home, okay, you need to try to stay positive. You need to try to think of the positive. And the way to do that is through looking maybe at pictures or listening to stories or telling stories with your family. I think sometimes okay, I got cut off in that last video. That timer's it's a killer. So sorry that got cut off and it's going to be a little bit choppy, but I don't think I can go back and make this for like the 6th time. So I'm just going to keep going with what I'm saying. If you can sit and look back at those photos and think of the moments, the positive moments, it'll help you think like maybe not every day was bad. Just like teachers, we keep notes from students because when we have rough days, we want to come home and look at those notes and be like, all right, not every day is bad. And you want to think of the bright events that are happening. Now, one thing that I have found, I see online a lot, I don't know if it was on TikTok or something. I'm not really on TikTok, but I know occasionally some people will post them on Facebook. Where somebody will take an old picture of when they were a kid, like really young, and recreate it. So you could always do something like that. Would be fun. If you think of a picture when you were really young and get your family together and try to recreate that photo, and then maybe ever so many years you could recreate the photo, and at the end you'd have this progression. You know, maybe once when you were 2, and then maybe now that you're 12, and then maybe when you're 24, 36, whatever. So I think with that in mind, okay, with all these things in mind, you build that community, okay, by thinking of positive moments and making connections and having conversations. You know, it's important to always seem interested, you know, to a degree in what people, you know, have to say. You know, one of the things in order to build a good community and a good relationship is to be an effective listener, as opposed to waiting for somebody's lips to stop moving so you can speak. And I think there's nothing more powerful than looking at somebody and they know clearly you're listening to them, the words that are coming out of their mouths. Because a lot of times people have that, you could see it in their face, they're just waiting to speak. And that's not always good. So you want to make sure you're a good listener, because if you want to have strong relationships, listening is very important. Being empathetic and understanding is very important. So I'm going to probably wrap this up because I have to go prepare for tomorrow. And I'm looking forward to wearing a different tie tomorrow. But I was happy to put on my LSU purple today. So like I said, I apologize that this video might seem a little bit, I don't know, a little strange, but also cut off. I just can't start over. I've made so many. I keep getting cut off by phone calls and alarms and all this other stuff. But I just want you to know that building connections with people is something you will do for the rest of your life. And if you're lucky, you'll make some really good connections with people, relationships that will last a lifetime. And I really do hope that for all of you, because it's always nice to have somebody you can count on and rely on and go to in a time of need. You know, somebody you can contact in the middle of the night because you're just like, you just need somebody to talk to. And I think that's really important. And hopefully it's your family, and then as well that you've made some friendships that as time progresses, I mean, I don't expect you to like contact your friend in the middle of the night at 12 years old, but my best friend I met when I was 10 and we're still best friends. The other friends, one of my other best friends I met when I was like maybe 11 and maybe when I was like 18, and we're still super tight. So friendships can last a lifetime, and I do hope that for all of you. So until our next check-in, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you're building strong relationships, building that community in your home and in your friendship community. And until our next check-in, peace out. And don't judge about the little mess up with my video, because have some empathy. See how I threw that in there? Oh well. Have a great day, everybody. Good night.